Okay, the next P is the passenger, and the two passengers are fetus and placenta. Okay, so let's talk about the fetal head first. It's the largest portion of the fetus. It takes up 1/4 of the entire body, and the bones that make up the face are fused and they're fixed, so they're immovable. But the 5 bones that are in the upper part of the head are not fixed. And you can see right here, here's a picture. You've got these open areas where there is no bone. These are called fontanelles, also known as soft spots. This is the smaller one. It's a triangle shape, you can see, and it fills in with about 6 to 8 weeks after birth, and this is the larger anterior fontanelle, and it takes about 18 months for it to completely fill in. So these allow for brain growth. And then you see right here there's these suture lines, and we felt those in the lab. This is the sagittal suture right here, and this is the one you can feel when the baby is still in utero and on its way out during the birth process. But these allow for the upper part of the fetal head to sort of become smaller or mold. We call it molding during the birth process. So you can see right here, the best way for a baby to be born is in that vertex position. This is head down with the baby's head in a flex position. So with its head, the chin to chest sort of movement, because this allows for this top part of the head to open and efface and dilate, to help dilate that cervix. So this is the uterus, this is the cervical opening right here. And this baby's head will mold or become like a cone head, which allows for the head to decrease in diameter and help that the cervix open. So we talk about this passenger, the fetus, with lots of different ways to navigate through the birth canal. So we talk about first the fetal attitude, and the fetal attitude has to do with the relationship of the fetal body parts to one another. So if we're talking about the head, because this is the presenting part in this, we're talking about either extension, this is an extended head, or this is a flexed head, gosh, and this is an extended head, and there are different variations in between. So a fully flexed head right here is a vertex presentation or a vertex attitude. Right here where the head is just sort of straight, we call this a military because the baby is standing at attention, the head is at attention. And then right here, it's a little flex, so this is a brow, so the brow is the presenting part you will see. So in the vertex, you see this part of the head. In the military, you see the whole head coming out. In the brow, you see the eyebrow, the upper part of the forehead area coming out first, and then a fully extended, you see the entire face coming out first. It's kind of spooky the first time you see it, this face just coming at you. And the diameter of this, because of molding, is much less than the diameter of the rest of these, because the head can only mold in certain ways. So this is why the vertex attitude is the best way of delivery, is because it opens up the cervix the best, and so these will have a much longer labor time because the mom will have a harder time pushing these babies out than this nice position. The next one is fetal lie. This is the relationship of the mom's longitudinal axis versus the fetus's longitudinal axis. So if they're both longitudinal, then you can see with a vertex presentation, it's longitudinal, but also with the breech, it's a longitudinal lie. But with the transverse lie, or a transverse baby, then it will be a shoulder presentation. That's what will come out first. The bum will come out first on this one, and the head will come out first on this one. So both these can be delivered vaginally. This one will have to be a C-section unless they can turn this baby somehow to being a longitudinal leg. But this right here, because of the litigation in our medical practices, they will most likely not be delivered vaginally. These will be C-section babies as well. So this is the presentation. The presenting part will be the head here, the sacrum here, and the shoulder for that transverse baby. So let's talk about breech for a minute. This is a complete breech where the knees are both tucked in, and this is a frank breech where it's almost in pike position. The legs are not flexed; they are extended. With a footling breech where one leg's coming out and a kneeling breech, both of these cannot be delivered vaginally because it doesn't open the cervix. These two can be delivered vaginally if there's a provider willing to do it. Okay, fetal position. This is the one that is pretty important to pay attention to because this is where you will get the questions where on your ATI or NCLEX saying the baby is in ROA position, where are you going to put the fetal monitor to get the fetal heart rate? And so we want to be able to, so this is looking at the mom. Let's just orient this picture for a minute. This is looking at the mom as if we're doing a vaginal exam, okay? So we can see the presenting head is in vertex position, and we can see the different ways the head can present. And there are 3 letters that we think about. We think about R or L, so right or left. We think about occiput or sacrum. Hopefully it would be occiput because that is the head, and remember that's the back of the head. So the occiput is back here, not here. So we're talking about the orientation of this back part of the head, this occipital bone. And then anterior or posterior. So is this occipital bone in the anterior plane of the mom? This is the anterior plane, right? The top part. This is the pubic symphysis. Or is this occipital bone on the posterior part or down below? This is the coccyx of the mom. So this will be posterior right here. So right or left, remember we're talking about mom's right or left. So this right here is the mom's right leg, left leg. So this occipital bone is facing the right leg of the mom. So this is right occipito, and then it's this anterior plane right here, right? So this is ROA, right? ROA. And we will put that fetal heart monitor right here because we want it on the upper fetal back. So this is, we can knock out straight. We don't really refer to it as straight. We just refer to it as OA. So if we go around the clock, now this occipital bone has turned to being straight on with that pubic symphysis. So straight anterior. This is that anterior plane of the mom. So this is OA, or occipito anterior. This is LOA, or left occipito anterior, because this occipital bone is on the left side, or point toward that left leg of the mom. So, and then the transverse is another plane that I haven't yet talked about, and this is just complete left or complete right. So not on any angle. Okay, so this occipital bone is pointing towards the mom's left leg. So we would be L-O-T, completely transverse, completely to the left. So L-O-T. Then I'm going to come down here. So the baby's just still turning in a clockwise motion. So now the baby's occipital bone is still on the left side of the mom, so it's still L. Occipital bone now is in the posterior plane, or down near the coccyx, so that's the posterior plane of the mom. So this would be L-O-P, posterior. Then, if we keep turning clockwise, now this baby's head is O-P, occipito-posterior. So completely straight back, occipito-posterior. And remember, this can be delivered vaginally, but there's a lot of back pain associated with an OP baby. We prefer babies to come out OA. They have to come out one or the other, remember, because there is this longitudinal oval. So baby has to make these turns before they get actually to crowning and coming out, because a baby can only come out OA or OP. We prefer OA. That is the best way. But if they come out OP, it can still happen. But you've got this occipital bone on this coccyx, and it can cause the mom to break this. And it causes lots of back pain, as you can imagine. And it lengthens the time of labor. All right, carrying on. If we're still going clockwise, now that occipital bone is to the right leg. So this is the mom's right leg. So right occipital in the posterior plane. So this is an ROP baby. And then next we move along more clockwise. And this occipital bone is still to the mom's right occipital transverse. This is wrong. I just realized this. This is wrong. That's interesting. So this should say right occipital transverse, because it's completely to the right side, or transverse. And then if we keep going along, we go back to ROA. So let's cross that out. That should be transverse. I will fix that in the future. Okay, any questions? Email me or put on the discussion board about that. That can be confusing to people. So just, if you were in lab, I know we didn't exercise. If you weren't in lab, then hopefully that was a lengthy enough explanation that it's okay, that it's understandable. Okay. So here is the video that I played in lab. It's the midwife explaining to her patients about what we just talked about, and then the breech things and all those different things. So I uploaded it to your module so you can watch it again if you like, or for the first time if you haven't had lab. So another part of the passenger is the fetal station. I uploaded a video, a little animation about this as well. So 0 station is where the baby's head is right. If you were to draw an imaginary line between these ischial spines, and you were able to palpate this with your vaginal exam in lab, those ischial spines, those are the little tuberosities right here. So -5, -4, -3, this is the head moving down. We're going to measure station. +1, +2, +3. +3, you can see here, the baby will be coming out. You can actually see the baby's head, and then at +5, the baby is crowning. So watch that video if you want to see the animation of it on fetal station. And then these are the cardinal movements of labor that I talked about. So remember, the baby has to come in transverse, because it's transverse oval, and it has to leave longitudinally. So it engages, it's at 0 station. So it's engaged in the true pelvis at 0 station. Then it will descend down with the pushing of the contractions and the mom's pushing also. And then once it hits that pelvic floor, the pressure of the downward movement of the contractions and that pelvic floor will cause that baby's head to flex or extend if it's going to extend, but usually it's flexion. And then it will internally rotate. So it's going to internally rotate to go from a transverse, coming in transverse like that, to leaving in a longitudinal kind of way. And then once it passes, it goes out the vagina, it extends. So the head is free and it's no longer flexed. It will extend up. You'll see that on the video I have posted. And then it has to externally rotate. So you have to get those shoulders to be a longitudinal presentation. So it has to externally rotate, and then once you get the anterior shoulder out, then the posterior shoulder out, then the rest of the body is easily expelled. Expelled, is that a word? It comes out rather easily. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video, watch the video, click on the video I've uploaded that talks about the 7 cardinal movements, and you can see all of this happening, the baby turning like we just talked about.